black market was alive with shadows. Strange voices filled the air, clicking, hissing, growling. Bright neon lights flickered above dark stalls. The smell of burning metal and alien spices mixed together, heavy in the air. Every corner was filled with danger, but Ethan walked forward, trying not to look afraid. He was not here for trouble. He was only searching for ship parts. His small cargo ship had broken down, and he needed a new power cell. The nearest legal station was too far, so the black market was his only chance. He knew it was risky, but he had no choice. Ethan kept his head low as he moved between the stalls. Aliens with sharp teeth whispered in unknown languages. A merchant with 6 arms waved a glowing weapon at him. Another tried to sell cages full of strange, screeching animals. Ethan ignored them all. He just wanted to find the part and leave before something went wrong. But fate had a different plan. At the center of the market, a group of traders shouted loudly. They were holding an auction. The crowd pushed closer, curious. Ethan almost walked past, but the sound of human words made him stop. "Lot 37, the auctioneer yelled. "Rare, exotic, one of a kind." Ethan frowned. Usually these auctions were for weapons, stolen tech, or illegal drugs. Curiosity pulled him closer. He squeezed into the crowd and looked at the stage. A metal cage stood under the light. Inside, someone moved. Not an animal, not a machine. It was a woman. She was tall, with pale silver skin that glowed faintly in the neon light. Her hair was long, black as space, and her eyes were bright violet, almost burning. She wore a thin collar with strange markings, but even inside the cage, she stood straight and proud, as if she was no one's prisoner. The crowd shouted, some laughing, some snarling. The auctioneer banged his stick. "A perfect companion, lo, y'all. Obedient. A love slave from the stars." Ethan froze, his stomach twisted. This was not what he came for. He hated slavery. He wanted to turn and leave, but before he could move, the crowd started bidding. 100 credits, someone shouted. 200, another voice roared. Ethan shook his head. This was madness. He had to walk away. But suddenly, one of the traders noticed him. The alien was tall, with yellow skin and 4 eyes. He smiled with sharp teeth. "You, human," the trader said. "Don't be shy. She is perfect for your kind." The crowd turned to look at Ethan. His heart raced. He raised his hands quickly. No, I'm not. 300 credits from the human," the auctioneer announced. "What?" Ethan shouted. "I didn't." 400, another alien yelled, pushing the price higher. The auctioneer grinned. 500 credits from the human again. Ethan's face went pale. They were playing with him. The crowd was laughing, enjoying the trick. But then something strange happened. The woman inside the cage looked at him. Her violet eyes locked on his. For a moment, the whole market seemed to grow silent. She tilted her head and then she smiled, a slow, mysterious smile. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. He tried to speak, to say he wanted nothing to do with this, but the words would not come out. His throat was dry. The auctioneer banged the stick. "Sold! To the human!" The crowd roared with laughter. Ethan's chest tightened in panic. This was impossible. He didn't even raise a bid, but the traders grabbed him, shoving a contract into his hands. They forced a payment chip into the machine. His credits drained instantly. Ethan tried to argue, but the aliens pushed the cage forward. The door opened with a hiss. The woman stepped out. She moved with grace, her bare feet silent on the ground. Her violet eyes never left Ethan. And as slowly, she walked toward him. The crowd cheered and whistled, mocking him. Ethan stepped back, shaking his head. "Wait, I didn't mean to." But the woman stopped right in front of him. She was close now, too close. Her presence was overwhelming, like standing near a storm. She leaned forward, her voice soft but sharp as a knife. "Now you're mine," she whispered. Ethan's blood turned cold. The traders clapped his back, laughing. "Take her, human. She is all yours now." The woman slid her hand into his, her skin strangely warm. She held his hand tightly, as if she would never let go. Her violet eyes burned into his soul. Ethan wanted to run. He wanted to shout, but something deep inside told him this was only the beginning. And whatever she was, whatever she wanted, he was already trapped. The flight back to his ship felt longer than it should have. Ethan walked quickly through the neon alleys of the black market, but every step reminded him that someone followed close behind. The alien woman, Lyra, as she had whispered, moved silently, almost gliding. Crowds parted when they saw her. Some aliens looked away with fear, others with greed, as if they regretted losing the auction. Ethan tried to ignore it. He kept telling himself, "I'll free her once I reach my ship. I'll put her on the nearest station, and then I'll be done." But deep down, he was not sure it would be so easy. When they reached the landing bay, Ethan hurried up the ramp of his old freighter. The ship was small, built for trade runs, not company. He pressed the button to close the ramp, hoping to finally breathe in peace. Lyra stepped inside without hesitation. Her violet eyes scanned the walls, the lights, every detail of the ship. She touched the metal with her fingers, as if she already knew it. "This is your vessel?" she asked softly. Ethan nodded, trying to sound firm. "Yes, and listen, I didn't mean to buy you. It was a mistake. I'll find a safe place for you, and you'll be free." Lyra tilted her head. For a moment, she looked Cito, unfused. Then her lips curved into a small smile. "Free?" she repeated. "No, human. I belong to you now, and you belong to me." Ethan's heart sank. He shook his head. "That's not how this works. You're not my slave. I don't own anyone." Her eyes flashed, glowing faintly in the dim light. She stepped closer. "It is not slavery. It is bond. You touched me. I touched you. Now our lives are tied together." Ethan took a step back. "That's crazy." But he felt something strange in his chest, a warmth that was not his own heartbeat. His hands trembled. He brushed it off. "Look, just sit down. I'll fly us out of here." The ship lifted from the market, engines humming. Ethan's hands moved across the controls, but his thoughts kept drifting back to her. She sat calmly in the co-pilot's chair, watching him. She didn't blink often. She didn't seem afraid. Finally, Ethan broke the silence. "What's your name?" "Lyra." "Where are you from?" Her eyes narrowed. "A place you would not know, a place that hunts me still." Ethan frowned. He wanted to ask more, but her tone told him not to. He decided to change the subject. "Listen, Lyra, about this bond thing, you really believe we're connected?" Lyra leaned closer, her voice almost a whisper. "Believe? No, I feel it. You feel it too, don't you?" Ethan opened his mouth to deny it, but then he froze. His hand was shaking, not from nerves, but because he felt another pulse under his skin, like a second heartbeat, not his own. When he glanced at Lyra, he saw her smile widen. "There," she said, "now you know." The rest of the flight was quiet, but not peaceful. Ethan set course away from the black market toward empty space. He needed time to think. When they landed on a small asteroid station for fuel, Ethan gave Lyra a chance to leave. "You're free now," he told her. "Go wherever you want. No one will stop you." Lyra on. Ly laughed, a low, soft laugh that made the hair on his neck rise. "I told you, human. I stay with you. If you die, I die. If I die, you die. Do you still want me to walk away?" Her words hit him like ice water. Ethan stared at her. "What do you mean?" Lyra lifted her hand. A faint violet light glowed around her fingers. Suddenly, Ethan felt his chest tighten. Pain shot through his heart. He gasped, dropping to his knees. Then, as quickly as it came, the pain vanished. Lyra lowered her hand. "You see?" she said calmly. "The bond is real." Ethan's breath came fast. His body shook. He wanted to scream at her, but instead, fear sealed his lips. That night, Ethan tried to rest in his cabin, but sleep refused to come. He could feel her presence through the walls. It was like a voice in his mind, not words, but emotions, curiosity, amusement, hunger. Finally, he stormed out and found her sitting in the control room. She was staring out the window, watching the stars. "Why me?" Ethan asked. His voice cracked with frustration. "Why bond with me? I didn't ask for this." Lyra turned slowly, her eyes glowing faint. "Because you touched the chain, and the chain touched me. Because fate brought us together, and because—" She paused, leaning forward. "You are strong. Stronger than you think." Ethan shook his head. "No, I'm just a traitor. A nobody." Lyra stood, walking close until her face was inches from his. "Not anymore." Her voice was like a promise, or a curse. For the first time in his life, Ethan felt completely powerless. He wasn't sure if Lyra was protecting him or trapping him. All he knew was this: he couldn't escape her. And deep inside, part of him wondered if maybe he didn't want to. The ship drifted through empty space. Stars glittered outside the window, silent witnesses to the strange new bond between Ethan and Lyra. He tried to focus on his controls, checking fuel levels and scanning for pirates, but his mind kept circling back to her. She was too calm, too quiet. Sitting in the co-pilot's chair, she looked like she had been here all her life, as if the ship already belonged to her. Ethan hated how she made him feel, like a guest in his own vessel. Finally, he broke the silence. You can't stay here forever, Ethan said. His voice was firm, though his hands trembled. I'll drop you off at the next safe station. Lyra turned her head slowly, her violet eyes glowing faintly in the low light. You still don't understand, she said softly. You cannot leave me, and I cannot leave you. Ethan clenched his jaw. That's not true. I'm not your master, and I never wanted this bond. Lyra tilted her head. For a moment, her expression was unreadable. Then she lifted her hand. The cabin lights flickered. The doors hissed open, then closed again, though Ethan had touched no controls. He froze. What did you just do? Her lips curved into a faint smile. Your ship listens to me now. Because you listen to me. Ethan's heart raced. That's impossible. But then his own console beeped. The engines shifted speed without his command. Ethan's hands flew over the controls, trying to override, but nothing worked. The ship slowed, then stopped, hanging in space like a trapped insect. Stop it, Ethan shouted. Lyra lowered her hand. The ship returned to normal. The engines hummed back to life. Ethan sat there, frozen in shock. He whispered, almost to himself, What are you? Lyra leaned closer, her voice soft as a breath. I am what you bought, and more. The next day, Ethan tested her words. He locked the control room doors, sealing her inside the cabin, but when he returned minutes later, she was sitting calmly in the pilot's chair, as if nothing had happened. How did you... Ethan began. The ship opens for me, she said simply. Ethan swallowed hard. He tried another test. He hid a ration pack in the storage room and locked it. Hours later, Lyra placed the same ration pack on the table in front of him. Hungry? She asked, smiling faintly. Ethan's stomach turned. It wasn't just strength. It wasn't just speed. She had control over his ship, maybe even over him. That night, the real test came. Pirates. A red alarm blared through the ship as 3 small raiders appeared on the scanner. Ethan cursed under his breath, rushing to the controls. They've locked onto us, he shouted. His fingers moved quickly across the console. Weapons ready. Before he could finish, Lyra stood. Her violet eyes glowed brighter than ever. Sit, she commanded. Something in her voice made Ethan obey without question. His body sat back against the chair, even though his mind screamed to move. Lyra stepped forward, her hair flowing like shadows. She raised her hand toward the window. Outside, the pirate ships closed in, their cannons charged, glowing red. But before they fired, something strange happened. The pirate ships froze. Not just their engines, everything. They drifted in space like broken toys. Their weapons powered down, their lights flickered out. Ethan stared, wide-eyed. You shut them down. Lyra's eyes burned like stars. They will not harm you, not while I am here. Ethan's breath came fast. But how? How did you do that? Lyra turned her gaze back to him. For a moment, she looked almost gentle. The bond makes me strong. Through you, I touch the world. Her words should have comforted him. Instead, they chilled him to the core. After the danger passed, Ethan sat alone in the control room, his head in his hands. He should have been grateful. She had saved his life, but deep inside he felt no safety. Because if she could stop pirate ships with a thought, what could she do to him? Lyra entered quietly, standing beside him. You are alive because of me. Do you not see? We are one now. You cannot survive without me. Ethan lifted his head, anger flashing in his eyes. No, I don't need you. I never asked for this, and if I could cut this bond, I would. Lyra's face darkened. For the first time, he saw a shadow of fur. I cross her features. But then she smiled again, calm and patient. You will change your mind, she said softly. You will see. The galaxy is hunting me, and now it hunts you too. You need me, Ethan, more than you can admit. Her words echoed in his mind long after she left the room. Later, as he lay in his bunk, Ethan tried to rest, but every time he closed his eyes, he felt her. Not just in the next room, but inside his thoughts. Whispers, images, a storm of stars, a voice that was not his. He turned in his bed, his chest tight. The bond was real, too real. And for the first time, Ethan realized the truth. He was not the master of this story. Lyra was. The ship floated quietly through deep space, but Ethan knew the silence would not last. Ever since the pirate attack, his mind had been restless. He tried to forget the way Lyra had shut down 3 ships with just her will. He tried to convince himself it was a trick, some kind of advanced technology hidden in her body. But no matter how he explained it, the truth remained. She was dangerous, and more than that, others would want her. It started small, a faint signal on the scanner. At first, Ethan thought it was just background noise. but the signal kept following them, never falling behind. "They're tailing us," Ethan muttered, tightening his grip on the controls. Lyra sat in the co-pilot's chair, calm as ever. Her violet eyes were half closed, as if she was listening to something only she could hear. "They know where I am," she said softly. "They always know." Ethan turned to her, alarm flashing in his eyes. "Who knows? Who's following us?" Her lips curved in that mysterious smile. "My hunters, my people. They do not forgive. They do not forget." Ethan's blood ran cold. "Your people. Why would they?" Lyra cut him off. "Because I am not supposed to be free, and now neither are you, the scanner bee." Ped louder. A ship appeared, then another, then three more. Sleek black vessels sliding out of the void, surrounding Ethan's little freighter like sharks around bleeding prey. Ethan cursed under his breath, his fingers flying across the console. "They're locking weapons. We can't outrun all of them." Lyra stood slowly, her eyes glowing faint. "Then let me deal with them." Ethan snapped his head toward her. "No, not again. I saw what you did to the pirates. If you use that power again, they'll know exactly where we are." Her gaze never wavered. "They already know." Before Ethan could argue, the comm system crackled to life. A deep alien voice filled the cabin. "Human vessel," the voice growled. "Release the fugitive to us. Do so, and we will spare your life." Ethan froze. He glanced at Lyra. She was watching him closely, her expression unreadable. The voice continued. "You cannot protect her. She is marked. She is dangerous. Give her to us, and you may go free." Ethan's stomach twisted. Freedom, escape. His heart screamed to take the offer. But Lyra leaned closer, her voice low and sharp. "Choose carefully, Ethan. If they take me, you die too. Remember the bond." The hunters fired a warning shot. The freighter shook violently as energy beams cut across its hull. Ethan gritted his teeth, pulling the ship into a hard spin. "Hold on," he shouted. The small ship darted through the black vessels, weaving between blasts of fire. Ethan's hands moved with skill, but sweat poured down his face. He was good, but not good enough. They were faster, stronger. Another blast hit the shields. Alarm screamed. "We won't survive this," Ethan yelled. Lyra's voice was calm, almost amused. "Then let me save you." Ethan looked at her, torn between fear and desperation. His ship was breaking apart. His heart raced. He had no choice. "Fine," he shouted. "Do it!" Lyra stepped forward, her hair flowing as if caught in an invisible wind. Her eyes blazed with violet fire. She raised both hands toward the stars. The hunters fired again, but their pawns never reached. A wave of light exploded from Lyra's body, racing outward. The black vessels froze in space. Their engines died. Their lights flickered out. One by one, they drifted powerless, trapped in her invisible grip. Ethan gasped, staring in awe and terror. You stopped them all." Lyra's breathing grew heavy, her body trembling. "The bond feeds me. Your strength. My strength. Together we are more than they can face." Ethan's chest tightened. "No. This isn't strength. This is madness. If they want you so badly, maybe they're right." Lyra's gaze snapped to him. For the first time, her eyes burned with something more than mystery. They burned with anger. "You would hand me over? After everything?" she asked, her voice sharp as steel. Ethan swallowed hard. "I don't know. I didn't ask for this bond. I didn't ask for you." The ship shook again as the hunters struggled to restart their systems. Lyra's voice dropped to a whisper, cold and fierce. "Then learn, human. Learn that you are mine now, and if I must burn the stars to keep you, I will." Ethan's heart pounded. Outside, the hunters still floated helplessly, their weapons dead, but he knew this was only the beginning. They would be back, stronger, smarter, and next time, they might win. He turned back to the controls, forcing the ship into hyperdrive. Stars stretched into lines as the freighter leapt away. When the ship finally settled into quiet space again, Ethan slumped in his chair, exhausted. Lyra stood beside him, her eyes glowing faintly. She reached out and touched his shoulder. "You see now, Ethan, they will never stop. Wherever you go, they will follow, and that is why you can never leave me." Her touch was warm, but her words were colder than the void outside. Ethan closed his eyes, knowing she was right. The chase had only begun. The stars outside stretched endlessly, but inside the ship, the silence was heavy. Ethan sat at the controls, staring blankly at the dark void. His hands were steady on the console, but inside his chest, his heart raced with unease. He had survived pirates, he had escaped hunters, but none of that felt like victory. because each time it was her, Lyra. She had saved him, yes, but also chained him tighter. Ethan's mind screamed with questions he could no longer hold back. Finally, he turned toward her. "Who are you really?" Ethan asked, his voice rough from silence. "And don't tell me you're just some slave from the market. That's a lie." Lyra sat across from him, her legs folded neatly beneath her, her violet eyes glowing faint in the dim cabin light. She did not look surprised by the question. In fact, she almost looked pleased. "You are right," she said softly. "I was never a slave, not truly. I allowed myself to be taken." Ethan's chest tightened. "Allowed? You wanted this?" Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. "I needed to escape. The hunters, my people, they would never stop searching for me. So I let myself be captured, hidden among the black market's filth. I waited until someone touched the chain." Ethan felt a chill crawl up his spine. "And that someone was me." "Yes," she whispered, "you." Ethan stood, pacing the narrow cabin. His voice rose with anger. "So this was all a trick? You let them sell you off like some trophy, just to tie yourself to the first fool who paid too much?" Lyra tilted her head. "Not fool. Fate." Ethan clenched his fists. "No, don't give me that fate talk. You trapped me. You—" He stopped suddenly, pressing his hand to his chest. The pain was back, a sharp twist inside his heart, like invisible claws pulling at his ribs. Lyra rose slowly, her eyes burning brighter. "Do not fight me, Ethan. You will only hurt yourself." The pain faded as quickly as it came. Ethan stumbled back, his face pale. "This bond, you weren't lying. If one of us dies, the other—" "Yes," Lyra said. "We are one now. 2 lives. 1 chain." Ethan sank into his chair, shaking his head. "This is insane. Why me? Out of everyone in that cursed market, why me?" Lyra stepped closer. Her voice softened, almost kind. "Because you are strong. Not with weapons, not with armies, but inside. I felt it the moment our eyes met." Ethan laughed bitterly. "You've got the wrong man. I'm just a traitor. A nobody." "No," Lyra said firmly. "Not anymore." For the first time, Ethan looked past her glowing eyes and saw something else. Not just power, not just danger, but fear. "You're running," Ethan said quietly. "All this strength, all these powers, and you're still afraid. Why?" Lyra froze. Her smile faded. She turned away, staring out the window. "They fear me," she whispered. "My people, my bloodline. I am born of the royal line, but different. Too different. They called me cursed, dangerous. They wanted me controlled, bound, or destroyed." Her voice grew sharper, colder. "I will not be destroyed." Ethan's throat tightened. He had expected lies, maybe even madness, but not this. "So, the hunters chasing us." Lyra nodded. "They are sworn to end me, and now, because of the bond, they are sworn to end you too." Ethan leaned forward, burying his face in his hands. His life had been simple before. Trade routes, cargo runs, small risks, small profits. Now he was tied to a fugitive alien princess, or maybe a monster, hunted across the galaxy. "I didn't ask for this," he muttered. Lyra knelt in front of him, her hand gently touching his arm. Her skin was warm, but her eyes burned with something Ethan couldn't name. "Neither did I," she whispered. "But here we are, bound. If you want to survive, Ethan, stay with me. Trust me." Silence filled the cabin again. Ethan felt her presence not just beside him, but inside his thoughts. The bond was real, too real. He couldn't deny it any longer. But trust her? That was another question. Finally, Ethan lifted his head. His voice was firm, though his eyes showed the weight of his fear. "Then tell me everything. No more secrets. If I'm going to die, because of you, I deserve to know what I'm dying for." Lyra studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Very well," she said softly. "I will tell you the truth." She leaned closer, her violet eyes glowing brighter than ever. "I am not your prisoner, Ethan, and I am not your slave. I am your chain, and from this day forward, the galaxy will see us as one." Ethan sat frozen. He didn't know if her words were a promise or a threat. But he knew one thing for certain. His old life was gone. Forever. The freighter drifted silently, hidden among the jagged rocks of an asteroid field. Outside, chunks of stone floated endlessly, crashing into each other with slow violence. Inside, Ethan sat at the controls, his eyes scanning the scanners again and again. They were being hunted, again. The signals had returned. 3 ships, then 5, now 7. The hunters were closing in. Ethan's chest was heavy. His mind screamed with the weight of the truth Lyra had given him. She wasn't a slave. She wasn't helpless. She was royalty, powerful, feared, and cursed. And because of her bond, he was trapped in her war. He turned to her, anger rising. This is impossible. They'll never stop chasing us. No matter where I take you, they'll follow. And every time, I'll be the one stuck in the middle. Lyra's violet eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. She didn't flinch at his words. Then stop running. Stand with me. Ethan slammed his fist against the console. Stand with you? I don't even know if you're telling me the truth. For all I know, you're using me as a shield. Lyra leaned closer, her voice sharp but calm. If I wanted you dead, Ethan, the bond would have killed you already. Her words stabbed deeper than he wanted to admit. He hated her calmness, her certainty, but even more, he hated how part of him believed her. The comm system crackled to life. A cold, alien voice bawled the cabin. Human vessel, we know you are hiding. We do not want you, only her. Deliver her to us and you live. Ethan froze. His stomach dropped. The voice continued. Do not be foolish. She is cursed, dangerous. You cannot trust her. Give her to us, and you will be free. The comm fell silent. Ethan's hands shook. Freedom. That word echoed in his mind like a drumbeat. He could be free. No more running. No more bond. No more whispers in his head at night. All he had to do was hand her over. He turned to Lyra slowly. She was watching him, not with fear, not with pleading, but with a cold, steady gaze. Well, she asked quietly, will you give me to them? Ethan's mouth went dry. He wanted to shout yes. He wanted to believe that was the smart choice, but something about her stare rooted him in place. They're right, Ethan said, his voice shaking. You are dangerous. You lied to me. You trapped me. Why should I keep protecting you? Lyra stepped closer, her presence overwhelming. Because the bond is real. If they take me, you die. If they kill me, you fall with me. That is truth, not lie. Ethan swallowed hard. The hunters outside fired a warning blast. The ship shook violently, alarms screaming. The asteroids around them shattered in the shockwave. You have no time, Lyra whispered. Choose. Ethan's heart pounded. He imagined himself handing her over, watching the hunters drag her away. Maybe the bond would break. Maybe he'd finally be free. But then another thought struck him. What if she was right? What if her death pulled him down too? And deeper still, another fear gnawed at him. What if she survived without him, and the hunters used him as bait? The ship shook again, another blast. Rocks tumbled around them. The hunters were closing in. Ethan looked at Lyra. She stood tall, unafraid, violet fire burning in her eyes. He realized something, then something he didn't want to admit. She wasn't asking him to save her. She was daring him to betray her. The comm crackled again. Human, time is ending. Give her up now. Ethan's throat tightened. His mind screamed for freedom. His heart whispered another answer. Finally, he slammed his hand down on the controls, opening the comm. She stays with me, Ethan shouted. His voice rang louder than he expected. If you want her, you'll have to go through me first. The hunters roared back, their ships powering up weapons. Lyra's lips curved into a slow, dangerous smile. Good, she whispered. The first blast came. Ethan's ship shook, shields flickering. He gritted his teeth, diving the freighter through the asteroid field. Rocks spun and shattered around them as beams of energy tore past. Lyra raised her hand. Power surged through the cabin, making the lights flicker. Outside, 2 hunter ships froze, their engines shutting down mid-flight. Ethan spun the freighter around an asteroid, firing the small cannons. A blast of light struck one hunter ship, sending it spinning into the rocks. But there were too many. For every ship they stopped, more closed in. Ethan's jaw tightened. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. He was just a traitor. But for the first time, he felt something fierce rising in his chest. If he was going to die, he would die fighting. The battle raged. The ship groaned under the strain. Ethan's hands moved furiously on the controls while Lyra's power lit the cabin with violet fire. Together, they fought like one being, one chain. Finally, the hunters pulled back, retreating into the shadows of the asteroid field. Ethan slumped in his chair, gasping for breath. Sweat dripped down his face. He looked at Lyra. She stood calm, her eyes glowing faint but steady. You chose, she said softly. Ethan closed his eyes. Don't thank me. I don't even know if it was the right choice. Lyra leaned closer, her voice low. It was the only choice. For the fighting. As time, Ethan realized something terrifying. He wasn't protecting her anymore. He was fighting with her, and maybe, just maybe, he didn't hate it. The freighter limped through empty space, its engines coughing and lights flickering. The battle in the asteroid field had left scars, burn marks across the hull, sparks leaping from exposed wires, and alarms still whining faintly in the background. Ethan sat slumped in the pilot's chair, his hands trembling from exhaustion. His body ached, his mind screamed, but his heart still pounded with the memory of the fight. He had chosen. He had stood beside her. Lyra. She sat across from him, calm as ever, her violet eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. She looked untouched by the chaos, though Ethan knew she had poured her strength into the battle. For a long time, neither of them spoke. The silence stretched like a rope ready to snap. Finally, Ethan broke it. "This can't go on," he whispered, his voice cracked with fatigue. "We can't keep running, fighting, hiding. I can't live like this." Lyra tilted her head. "And yet, you live because of me. You breathe because I fought with you. Would you rather I had let them kill you?" Ethan's fists tightened. "That's not the point. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't ask to be bound to you, to be hunted across the galaxy." Lyra's lips curved into a faint smile. "And yet, here you are, alive, with me." Her calmness made him furious, but beneath his anger, another truth burned. He was alive because of her. He had fought beside her, and somewhere deep inside he had felt the bond, not just as a chain, but as something more. The silence shattered when the scanner beeped again. Ethan's heart sank. Another ship. No, 3. Larger than before. "They're back," Ethan muttered, his throat dry. Lyra rose slowly, her eyes blazing brighter, but this time, something about her looked different. She swayed slightly, her hands trembling. "You're weak," Ethan said, standing quickly. "You used too much power in the last fight." She smiled faintly. "The bond keeps me strong. Your strength feeds mine." Ethan shook his head. "No, you're burning yourself out. You can't do this again." The comm crackled to life. The same cold alien voice filled the cabin. "This is your final warning, human. Hand her over, or both of you will die." Ethan's stomach twisted. The choice again. Freedom or death. Her or him. But this time, something was different. He no longer felt like a prisoner. Not exactly. The bond was still a chain, yes, but it was also fire running through his veins, and for the first time, he wasn't afraid of it. He turned to Lyra. "We can't keep running. We fight together. One last time." Lyra's eyes widened slightly. Then for the first time since he had met her, she laughed. A real laugh. Soft, strange, and beautiful. "You finally understand," she whispered. The hunters closed in. Beams of light streaked across the void. Ethan pushed the freighter forward, weaving through the fire. His hands moved with fierce precision, no longer clumsy or hesitant. Lyra stood in the center of the cabin, her eyes blazing like twin suns. Power crackled around her, filling the room with violet light. The enemy ships fired again. Ethan dodged, rolling the freighter between blasts. Lyra raised her hands, and one of the hunter ships exploded in a flash of light. Another closed in from behind. Ethan spun the freighter sharply, bringing the cannons to bear. He fired, tearing into the hunter's hull. The third ship loomed larger, weapons locked. Lyra's body trembled, sweat dripping down her face. She raised her hand, but no power came. "I can't," she whispered, her knees buckling. Ethan caught her, holding her upright. "Then I'll do it." He pushed the ship forward, heading straight for the hunter. The enemy's Sci-Fi. Anons lit up, ready to fire. Ethan gritted his teeth, his hand gripping the trigger. The bond pulsed. He felt her inside his mind, her voice whispering, "Together." Energy surged through him, through them both. The freighter's cannons blazed with unnatural power, brighter and stronger than ever before. The blast ripped through the hunter's ship, tearing it apart in a storm of fire. Silence. The scanners cleared. No more ships, no more hunters. For now, they were safe. Ethan gasped for breath, his body shaking. Lyra leaned against him, her face pale, but her eyes still glowing faint. "You see now," she whispered. "We are strongest together." Ethan looked at her, his chest heavy. "This bond, it's killing me, but I can't let go, even if I wanted to." Lyra smiled, her hand brushing his cheek. "Good, because I will never let you go." Her words were soft, almost tender. but they chilled him more than the cold of space. As the freighter drifted into the dark, Ethan finally understood the truth. He hadn't just bought an alien by accident. He had bought his own chain, and no matter how far he ran, no matter how hard he fought, one truth would follow him to the end of the stars. He was hers, forever.